This is your hillbilly historian coming to you with some information today that you'll never find in a textbook. Way back a century and a quarter ago, around 1900, all the nations on earth that had huge navies were changing their navies from coal-driven ships to oil-driven ships. Now, this was a major technological breakthrough in that ships would not have to carry huge bins of coal, and they wouldn't have to have hundreds of men shoveling that coal into their furnaces. And a lot of ships had problems with fires starting and coal bins, and it was impossible to put them out. You had to almost totally empty the coal bin. It was very dangerous for the men trying to shovel hot coal out of a coal bin. And it was just a very crude way of powering our ships, even though it did lead to some mighty powerful ships. And it changed navies from wooden ships to solid thick metal hull ships. But coal driven, switching over from coal to oil, you could refuel your ships much easier and faster. Just have a tanker pull up beside and throw a line across and fill her up. Well, this modification also made ships more independent, better driven. You needed fewer men, less food on the ships, and it just led to more powerful, cleaner ships. And all the navies of the world had access to oil. Like the United States had access to a lot of oil. Great Britain had access to oil all over the world. France had access to oil in some of its colonies. The Middle East was a source of a lot of oil for these nations, especially Great Britain. They could get oil out of what became Kuwait and Iraq and Saudi Arabia. And but Germany had a problem. Now, Russia had a lot of oil, but Germany had a problem. There's no oil in Germany. Now, around 1920, they tried to solve their problem. Two Germans by the name of Frisch and Tropsch came up with a way to convert coal, which Germany has a lot of, to oil. But before that, Germany was going to build a Baghdad to Berlin railroad, and that would give them access to the Middle East. They became very friendly around 1900, 1905, 1910, in that area. They became very friendly with Turkey and Syria, and Turkey controlled most of the Middle East at that time. It was the Turkish Empire, Ottoman Empire, and so they controlled a lot of the Middle Eastern oil. And Germany was very friendly with the Ottoman Empire, so they were going to build a Baghdad to Berlin railroad right across Turkey, the straits there, and they were going to get access to a direct line of oil that could run 24 hours a day by rail. But there was a problem. there was this little old country called Serbia. And Serbia had its independence. And Germany, they would not allow Germany to build this railroad through their country. And there was no way to go around Serbia. You come up through the Baltic region, you had to go through Serbia to get into Austria-Hungary and then into Germany and Berlin. Well, Serbia wouldn't let Germany build through there. So Germany thought they could solve the problem. They talked to Austria-Hungary, which was pretty much on the decline in those days, power-wise. But Germany talked them into invading little old bitty Serbia and conquer Serbia, and that way they could finish their railroad. Well, bad news was Serbia kicked Austria-Hungary's butt. Kicked them good, kicked them solid. And Serbia started signing alliances with other countries, especially Russia. Russia would help defend Serbia. So would France. France decided to become a protectorate for Serbia because basically Russia and France did not want to see Germany get access to this Middle Eastern oil. So it was all about oil, folks. Now, Austria-Hungary, since they couldn't kick Serbia's butt, they tried to be friendly diplomatically. And they tried to be friends with Serbia, and that way they might be able to talk them into letting them build that railroad. And so that's why Archduke Ferdinand and his wife went down to Serbia to try to smooth those guys, be friendly, and cultivate a friendship, and be able to talk them into letting them build that railroad. Well, while Archduke was there, some nut job shot him and his wife. Well, shot his wife first because his wife jumped in front of the Archduke. She took the first 2 or 3 bullets and fell out of Archduke's lap, and then he took the rest of the bullets, and they were both murdered right there in their convertible automobile on a street corner in Serbia. And of course that is the reason they claim was the cause of World War I, or the Great War, and the death of 20 million people. Now, it is sad that Archduke and his wife were murdered, but to use them as an excuse for that war, and it didn't, he was a well-liked man. His wife was not well-liked or appreciated in their home country because she was not royalty. But anyway, to try to blame World War I on them, that might have been the match that started the conflagration. But it was that railroad, that access to oil, that was the real cause of the Great War. So there you go, folks. Another insight into history you will never find in your history books. I've never heard, and even the documentaries on television that are so popular now, never say a word about the Baghdad to Berlin Railroad. And that had everything to do with that problem in the Baltic area between Austria-Hungary and Serbia, which led to the Great War and the death of 20 million people because our politicians are so evil and so mean and so cruel. They don't care about anybody's life as long as they get to play their games. And that is an insight from your hillbilly historian from the hills of East Tennessee, Stay tuned for more insights into true history that you'll never find in your history books. Signing off.